begin with the proceedings of the day by first inviting Father Monodeep Daniel to say the college prayer.
So let us pray. Shall we stand for this short prayer? Let us pray. O God, the fountain of all blessings and bestower of all grace and courage, who enabled your servant, Saint Stephen's, to uphold your eternal truth with honor and integrity, even to die for his convictions. Enable us who are nurtured in this college which celebrates his name to value whatever is true, good, and beautiful, and to use your gifts for the service of our fellow beings. Grant that our lives be lived with the honor, integrity, and courage as exemplified by your servant, Saint Stephen's. Amen. You may please sit.
I shall now invite the junior members of the Music Society to come to the stage and render the song of invocation.
Ya Chandi Madhukaitavadi Daitya Dalani Ya Mahishomulini Ya Dhumreshana Chandamunda Madani
I now request the college bursar, Mr. K. Matthew, to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Matthew.
Principal Sir, our esteemed guests, senior and junior members. We are gathered here to participate in the first public lecture of the year. As a teaching and learning community, it is natural for us to engage with issues, expand our intellectual horizons, encourage open discussions, and grow in our understanding of issues of great importance. Universities and institutions of repute world over organizes public lectures. St. Stephen's College, which occupies a preeminent position on the educational map of this country, believes in the usefulness of such lectures, and today we have Dr. Valson Thampu deliver the first lecture. Reverend Thampu is a man of great vision, courage. He is a man with an indomitable spirit and enthusiasm. One has always sensed in him an earnest eagerness to see the academic community participate in the shaping and building of institutions and the nation. He believes that St. Stephen's College should be a place of thinking and learning and growth. It can and should be a wellspring from where ideas and opinions should flow out and water, nourish, and enable the minds of all within and around to think and to grow. He thinks that the colleges and institutions can similarly contribute in building a community of thinking people. Let me thank Reverend Thampu for agreeing to deliver this public lecture, A Vision for Education. It's my duty to welcome all, especially those from outside the college who have taken time to come and be part of this lecture. St. Stephen's College will certainly benefit from your presence. I would like you to recognize the presence of Professor Harish Trivedi, who taught in college some years ago in the faculty in the Department of English. It may seem a little out of place to formally welcome members of the family of St. Stephen's. All the same, let me heartily welcome all senior and junior members of the college to this lecture. And finally, let me also welcome the spirit, a new spirit, which begins today with the first ever public lecture organized by St. Stephen's College. Thank you.
Friends, pursuit of excellence and service to society were the two paramount objectives in the minds of founding fathers of St. Stephen's College. Realization of these objectives is doubtless incumbent upon creating an intellectual culture within an institution. We at St. Stephen's College have introduced the idea of public lecture series with these objectives in mind. It has been decided to have 4 such lectures in an academic year. The first lecture of this series would be delivered by the principal of the college, and the remaining 3 would be given by the faculty members in college. In keeping with the same objectives, we also started the Citizenship and Cultural Enrichment Program in college last year. Now, it is quite heartening to note that this particular program has elicited huge response from the denizens of the city. Both these command projects, public lecture series that we are going to have now, and the Citizenship and Cultural Enrichment Program that was launched last year, both these command projects aim to realize the twin goals of promoting pursuit of excellence and giving back to society. It's really unfortunate that in our country of nearly 36,000 academic institutions, the idea of giving back to society has not picked up momentum. Academic institutions continue to exist in that mode of receiving and not giving back anything to the community. Now, the hallmark of a great institution is that it is like a river that enriches life around it. The public lecture series at St. Stephen's College is not an isolated instance of any lecture series. It should be seen as an indication or a signal of institutional transformation, and also the commitment to give back to society. And it goes without saying that we need to carry out this agenda with greater vigor and enthusiasm. Now, the person who has been at the forefront of reviving an intellectual culture in St. Stephen's College, and the one who launched the Citizenship and Public Lecture Series project last year, is our principal, Reverend Dr. Valson Thampu. He has tirelessly worked to fulfill the cherished dreams of the founders of the college. And we acknowledge our gratitude to him for his commitment to the cause of excellence. Thank you very much, Dr. Thampu. Today, Dr. Reverend Thampu is going to speak on a very relevant topic, a vision for education. We all are convinced about the need for education, but seldom raise this question, what kind of education should we have? Is the education that we are receiving today only enabling us to compete in this market society, or is it transforming us from within to make us better human beings? Now, Bertrand Russell once said that real education had an ennobling impact on one's character. Since independence, huge amount of money has been spent, invested in the field of education by the state. Several projects and slogans have been launched to turn India into a knowledge society. We have definitely traversed a long distance in this direction in educating our society. But the desired traits of an educated society are nowhere in sight. I'm sorry to say that. Appalling levels of poverty, inequality, sectarian and communal violence, apathy, indifference, intolerance of the other. You see, these are definitely not hallmarks of a civilized, educated society. And in view of all this, we are bound to question what kind of education we are receiving in our society today. Is this leading us towards the creation of a society based on excellence and desirable human values, or it is augmenting the miseries of our banal existence? I think probably it is the right time to think about a vision for education. I now request Reverend Dr. Thampu to deliver the first lecture of the public lecture series in St. Stephen's College on the topic, A Vision for Education.
Mr. Aide, the chair of the session, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Dean Academics of the College, Mr. Matthew, the bursar of St. Stephen's College, Dr. Harish Trivedi, my very esteemed colleague for some time in the Department of English, Dr. Ishwaran, who till recently worked with college both as the head of the Department of Chemistry and a very sturdy researcher, Poonam, the charming wife of Dr. Harish Trivedi, and I see Deepak Mukherjee, who represents a great tradition in college as the grandson of one of the most towering principals we have ever had, Principal Satyananda Mukherjee. My most beloved, esteemed colleagues who are with me on the dais, who actually constitute the substance of my dream and the guarantee of its fulfillment. Members of, or scholars of the citizenship course who have come from great distances, and the junior members of the college who are my daily delights, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I wish, first of all, to add my words of welcome to those of Matthews, to all of you, for this is really not the most convenient time for people to come together, nor is Delhi a happy city to commute in. I believe you have come because you believe in the subject and you're concerned about the issues that comprehend the length and breadth of this very important subject. I'll try to be as brief as I can. This is an oceanic theme. I'll try to limit myself to 45 minutes, provided the clock starts now. All right, now, first of all, let me, by way of introduction, make 3 points. The first, I believe that the basic fundamental task of education is to refine taste. It is to enrich culture. It is to ennoble the human stock. It is to spread enlightenment. Now, this particular task assumes urgent, crucial significance at the present time, because the society as a whole appears to be, and I could be wrong, appears to be going in the opposite direction. There's an evident degradation in taste. There are signs of things falling apart. And the human stock seems to be getting degraded. So there is a very well-defined and urgent task at hand, which education must address, because I don't see any other project being able to address this issue. I will be very brief about these things because these are merely introductory markers to what I have to say. The spread like wildfire of the consumerist culture, bringing about a homogenization of human desire, and the near complete enslavement of the human being to the pleasures of the market, and the tacit assumption that there is nothing to life beyond these things, and the kind of abject surrender to the domination of technology. All these have contributed one way or another to the problem that I have just mentioned. The second issue, I am particularly concerned that all educational institutions today face a very serious problem. And that problem is a cultural problem. See, an educational institution is fundamentally a community of people. It is not an aggregation of individuals. In this college, when I was growing up here, we were repeatedly told that St. Stephen's College is a family. And that was an important statement about the nature of the college, the culture of the college, the vision the college had, and its understanding of the project of education. We are living at a time of escalating alienation, where individuals are becoming autonomous, where every form of belonging is resented as a form of circumscription. Or to use a Shakespearean expression, people feel cabined, cribbed, confined within even relationships. People feel alienated from their work, which is a very serious issue, because I believe that the very fundamental purpose of work is to serve as the medium of one's growth. How else will you grow? I do not know of any other medium for human growth than the work that I do. My primary remuneration for the work I do is not my monthly pay. It is the sense of my continual growth. If that is the case, isn't it a serious matter that individuals feel alienated from work, and the sign of that alienation is the sense of burden and feeling wearied about one's work? And it's quite widespread. We talk about workload. Rather than celebrate work and welcome it and transform it into a medium of one's growth and happiness. And the same attitude spills over to the relationship between the students and teachers. And most particularly at this point in time, and with specific reference to St. Stephen's College, I have to say that all of us, junior members, senior members, everyone together, the well-wishers of the college, the alumni, all of us have to be particularly mindful of the fact that on account of this spirit of the age, unknowingly, maybe unwittingly, there could come about a complete, though gradual, alienation from the essence of the institution. I remember the address delivered by Martin Heidegger in 1931, when he became the rector of the University of Freiburg. And the one theme he hammered from start to finish, it became a very controversial address. The one thing he emphasized from start to finish was the need. He first of all said that working in a university is a spiritual thing. That's the first thing he said. Then he said the most important thing is for every member of the university community to be rooted in the essence of the university. Now, is there such a thing as the essence of a university? If we are today to define the essence of Delhi University, what would that be? If I have to say two sentences about the essence of St. Stephen's College, what would that be? Now, you would know that the college has been a subject matter of intense contestation over a period of time. Various people have come forward and offered their idea about the college. No one has really bothered, and I say this with the full responsibility it implies, no one has really bothered to check their assumptions and presumptions about St. Stephen's College against the essence of the institution. And this is also typical of the spirit of this age, because, as Hannah Arendt says in one of her articles on authority, he says another very significant feature of this age is the insistence on the part of everyone to take everything only on one's own terms. So if I say that this is St. Stephen's College, that is St. Stephen's College. If I say that this is night and not day, it is night. You have to take it. That's the spirit in which we are living, spirit of the age in which we are living. And it is this that has degraded the human society into a theater of destruction, conflict, misery. The quality of life has been seriously degraded in the process. And I am greatly, immensely, deeply worried that this particular epidemic, cultural, social epidemic, will invade the soul of St. Stephen's College as well, unless the community as a whole, the senior members, junior members, all stand together in a state of complete solidarity, rooted in an objective understanding of what St. Stephen's College has been and will forever be. We will become an easy prey, and there are signs that it is round the corner. And the third thing, I have a very clear purpose in giving this address. And that purpose is to plead for, to pray for, to advocate, even insist on a reorientation of college life, the total life of the college, from prestige to growth. This will be the burden of my song. Something very simple. And that needs to be done because the entire project and practice of education has given up almost completely on the concept of growth, substituted it with all kinds of other things which are primarily responsible for the various signs and symptoms that we see. Now, for me, growth is akin to creativity. There will be no growth without creativity. The opposite of creativity is doing things in a mechanical manner. The mechanical is routinized. The mechanical is repetitive. The mechanical is partial. It does not involve the whole of your being. The mechanical involves only certain limited set of skills. Whereas work is meant to engage, involve the fullness of your being. That is when work becomes ecstasy. The moment you bring work to the level of the mechanical, work becomes a crushing burden. And this is exactly what has happened. And the only way I find out of this mess is to reorient the life of an institution. See, I can't do anything about the education policies in this country. I'm much too small a person. But all of us together can do something in this institution. We can certainly reorient the life of the college, the service of the college, the self-understanding of the college, the practices within college, from prestige, which is something that has driven this college for at least 4 decades that I know. This college has been ruined by prestige. This college has been corrupted by prestige or elitism, whatever it is. Elitism is a wall that you create against others. Elitism breeds an attitude of arrogance, unmerited arrogance. Elitism blinds you to your own secret. I will not reveal. So, now, the reason why I emphasize creativity is that creativity means the manifestation of hidden possibilities. Prestige is all about what is visible immediately to the naked eye. There is no search, there is no quest within prestige, the mindset of prestige, for anything beyond the visible, anything beyond the given on the platter. Whereas creativity is a continual pilgrimage after hidden possibilities. And I see this institution pregnant with hidden possibilities. I can't tell you how exciting it is. If only we would believe in it. And this is where I want to place on record my boundless gratitude to my colleagues for walking along. Many things have happened in this institution, and many more things need to happen, and it's my faith that they will happen. Now, since my theme is a vision for education, I need to say something about the word vision, right? Because the word vision is rarely heard these days. What do I mean by vision? You know, Plato in his book Symposium says the following. He says, if man has eyes to see true beauty, he becomes the friend of gods and immortal. If a man has eyes to see true beauty, he becomes what? A friend of the gods and immortal. The eye to see. Plato says, don't take it for granted if you have it. A simple principle, my friends, is you are what you see, and you are what you do not see. And our problem is not that we don't have eyes. Our problem is that we have eyes. Our problem is that we see, and because we see, we do not see. There are so many things that need to be seen. Now, there's a verse in the Bible which says, where there is no vision, people and nations perish. I'll repeat that. Where there is no vision, people and nations, not only institutions, people and nations perish. Now let's say, at the lowest level, vision is what we see. Here I'm equating vision with sight, which is wrong. But let's start with that. Vision is what you see. In which case, I have three very simple questions to ask. First of all, what is the scope that we see in our work? And what is the scope we see in our students? That's the first question. Your attitude to work depends on what you see in it. For want of time, I will not give you illustrations. The second question is this. How rooted are we in the essence of St. Stephen's College, through which we serve the nation? Third question. What is our relevance to the wider context in which we are placed? You know, institutions often succumb to the temptation of believing that they are an island, complete unto themselves, that those beyond their boundaries are all inferior human beings, and they have no responsibility towards them. This is called institutional arrogance, or at best institutional indifference. Now, because of this, we fail to see the opportunities that are beckoning us all the time. By the way, different kinds of work would demand different types of seeing. There are certain types of things you can see perhaps with half an eye. If you want to read page 3 of the newspaper, half an eye will do. Right? On the other hand, if you want to read the editorial of a newspaper, you may need one full eye. On the other hand, if you want to read a classic, Shakespeare or Aeschylus or Milton or Tolstoy or Dostoevsky or whatever, you may need both your eyes. But if you want to read spiritual scripture, or even a portion like Plato's simile of the cave, you may need the third eye, which we associate with Lord Shiva, isn't it? Third eye. I firmly believe that every teacher must have the third eye. We need to see a lot more than what we are seeing at the moment. And particularly for the teachers of St. Stephen's College, this is crucial in the days ahead. It's not enough that you see with both eyes. We have to open the third eye. Only when the teacher opens his or her third eye will the students begin to open both eyes. And that is called enlightenment. And that's why I'm saying the goal of education must be enlightenment, not employment. Employment will take care of itself. This is why I chose the subject of vision. Vision is what you see with the third eye. And now don't ask me anatomically where it is, forehead or beyond the head. It doesn't matter. I think the third eye is your entire being. Your entire being filled with and pulsating with love for the children. That's the third eye. So, technology is afflicting me. Now, it is when you look at things through the third eye and come across certain possibilities and priorities that you activate a world of controversies. You need to have guts to open the third eye. You know, some people frighten others holding them at gunpoint. Today it doesn't happen. It has not happened to me. I've been attempted to be frightened with controversies. I have enjoyed every controversy to the last syllable, because I know the meaning of it. If I were not to have controversies, I would have stayed on in the National Commission. I wouldn't have come to St. Stephen's College. I knew there was an agenda here. And I knew that controversy would be the grammar of my service. Nothing has taken me by surprise. Teachers of this generation, I want to proclaim it with all the conviction I'm capable of, must have, not scholarship. Scholarship is negotiable. They must have courage. You know, Kabir says, Guru Gobind donom khade khake lago pai. Bilihari Guru apne dine Gobind diyo betai. Now what is the meaning? I don't know. Harish is the best person to explain this. I'll tell you what I understand from this. Who is a guru? A guru is a person of some substance. How do you become a person of some substance? I have known only one way, and that is by facing resistance. The alternative to this is adopting the line of least resistance. That is when your backbone becomes jelly, or that particular anatomy, part of the anatomy called the backbone, is found to be missing. A teacher must have the courage of conviction to stand up. That is when students are inspired. That is when character is formed. So, there is a huge agenda, an urgent, imperative agenda at work. I started by saying at the outset that the prime shaping goal of education is to bring about the refinement of taste. Now, therefore, the question arises, how do we do this? It's all right to say that education must refine taste, or as Rousseau said in his pedagogic novel, Emile, the purpose of education is the perfection of human nature, which Kant sort of quotes and then slightly modifies, and he says that the function of education is to contribute to culture, be that as it may. The question is, the practical question is this: how do we actually refine taste? Now, I crave your indulgence in what I'm going to say because it may be a little out of the way, but I have to say it nonetheless. You know, very often, wherever I have gone, spoken to teachers, when I say this, the first reaction is, we can predict, the first reaction is, and the only reaction is, you know, values are to be caught, not taught. You've heard this? Values are to be caught, not taught. What does that mean? Don't teach values. But no one asks the question as to what am I doing, what is my institution doing in order to enable the students, the young minds to catch these values. From where will they catch these values? From which aspect of the life of the school or college will they catch the values? From which lesson or which class, from which subject, which experience, which extracurricular activity, which sporting event, from where will they catch? It's never asked. So this very fine slogan, values are to be caught, not taught, is an alibi. It's much more honest to say, please don't talk about it. But I tell you, there is a way. There is a way. And I'm not going to say anything new. This is what thinkers on education have said repeatedly. And that is the crucial importance of the environment. It's a very, very, very loaded word in education. Environment. Now let me illustrate. A non-living thing, a piece of stone for example, has no environment. It has only surroundings. Unlike in the case of a stone which cannot respond, the students who are admitted to this college or other colleges or schools are not blocks of stone. They are continuously absorbing things from the environment. And which institution, I ask today, which institution pays attention to that environment? Are teachers as a body mindful of, concerned about the health and wholeness of that environment? I ask today. And I ask today with a lot of pain in the light of the many things that have happened in recent times. It's very easy to pollute the environment, poison young minds, all under the pretext of pursuing some kind of agenda which can be given lurid colors. The fact of the matter is that this is a project that kills the very soul of education. My dear friends, I cannot exaggerate the importance of the concept of environment. And this environment certainly is influenced by the stature of the teachers. The stature of the teacher. Not just the scholarship, the stature, the character, the vision, the value system, the attitude to work, the relationship they build with students, and so on and so forth. And we in this college are not strangers to these concepts. You know, in St. Stephen's College, English is the medium of instruction But student-teacher relationship is the medium of education. Nothing more needs to be said. So, now, this environment is also substantially influenced by the philosophy of education or the vision of education the institution has. For example, as has been already mentioned, the idea of education followed by St. Stephen's College from its humble beginning in 1881 has been enlivened and sustained by one important concept, and that is the vigorous pursuit of excellence in education. 5 missionaries from Cambridge came to Delhi. They had nothing. They hired 3 old, dilapidated rooms in Chandni Chowk of all places. Started a college called St. Stephen's College, which was known as the Mission College. They had 4 students, none of whom could pay 2 rupees annual fee. But having made a beginning, Colonel Samuel Scott Allnutt, the founding principal of St. Stephen's College, called his colleagues, and standing in the midst of them, he said, "This will be the best college in India. This will be the best college in India." I ask you today, is this the best college in India? It began in 1881. 700 rupees, 5 teachers, 4 students. That's the story of this college. So, the vision, the culture of the institution matters. And it's very important for us as an academic community, an academic family, to be well educated on the essentials of this culture. And I hope in the days ahead, repeated attempts will be made with an open mind to understand the being and the culture of St. Stephen's College. Now, there is a huge problem in education, and I have to mention this, though time seems to become a problem. If you really look at the project of education from kindergarten up to PhD, and this is not my point, I have to be honest with you, this is what John Dewey says in his short book titled Moral Principles in Education. He has a much larger work called Democracy and Education, 1910, around that time. John Dewey says, from the time a child joins, say, nursery, or take class 1, the child is repeatedly told that the only purpose of going to school, the only purpose of attending classes, the only purpose of listening to the teacher is to score good marks. Examinations are coming 10 months from now. Study well so that you can be one upon everyone. So what happens? The child, the innocent poor child, this victim of a student, from the early days grows up with this impression that nothing that happens in the classroom has any intrinsic value. It's all like a ladder. Suppose you want to climb to the first floor of the room. You use a ladder, right? But once you've reached there, you don't carry the ladder on your head or your head on the ladder. You just leave the ladder, right? And that's exactly how students teach their textbooks. As a result, no child enjoys learning per se. Education is all about getting marks. And of course, class 12 is very important because you have to make it to St. Stephen's College. I have to apologize to the whole nation that this college is a source of misery for millions of young people because they can't make it. I have seen the torrential tears of young men and women who say to me, we have been studying for 5 years relentlessly like mad people just to make it. We have scored 96, 97. We can't even get an interview call. Tell us what to do. What can I tell them? My dear friends, this is sheer madness. This is cruelty. When will we allow the children of this country to derive some delight from the process of learning and not degrade it into a torture? A school, a college must not be a concentration camp. It must be a celebration of growth. And that's my dream for the college. All right, now I'll have to skip a lot of things. Let me just let me come to the reorientation. You know, if you understand the anguish that I have shared with you on account of this most destructive attitude to education, which is practiced from the early stage right up to, then you will understand why the stature of the educated people is dwindling. Throughout the 20th century, the lament all over the world was over the dwindling stature of human beings. It was not for want of education. I would make bold to say that it was because of education. You look at the educated people in our times, how many of them have a concern for justice? How many of them have the courage to stand for their convictions? How many of them can look beyond their nose? Now, when the culture, the internal culture of an institution gets reoriented from prestige to growth, certain things happen. First, the attitude to teaching and learning gets completely transformed. Then a text does not become a mere tool. The text becomes a continual invitation. Now, for the life of me, I cannot understand how a teacher can teach half a course for 20 years. I cannot understand this. And I'm exaggerating, of course, which public speaker does not exaggerate. Like poets have poetic license, public speakers do have this license. But it's the exaggeration of an element of truth nonetheless. Now, okay, fine. You teach the same text for 20 years, I don't have a problem. But if you're saying the same thing about the same text for 20 years, then I do have a problem. I mean, it's like, somebody, in the course of an interview, a candidate was asked to comment on the special features of the 9th 5-year plan. He told the board, sir, we don't have 9 5-year plans. We have the 9th approach to the same 5-year plan. You understand? Now, I don't understand how a person can go on repeating the same stuff year after year after year. Then you can work only in a mechanical fashion. And as I said at the outset, the mechanical approach completely excludes growth. For example, imagine a gramophone record, the stylus moves on the groove. It may run on the groove for 10 years, but it doesn't make any progress. Education cannot be a gramophone record or stylus moving on a gramophone record. Education has to be predicated on growth. Every day is new, every day is fresh, every word is new. Every experience is new. Why? Because you are growing. When a teacher is growing, the same word will have a very different flavor. That's actually the test of human growth. For example, a highly spiritually developed person may say to a human being, look, follow me. Nothing more. That person will leave everything and follow him. If I go and tell somebody, especially after all these controversies, follow me, what will happen? Seema knows what will happen. You understand? Why? The same words will have completely different flavors, very different impact. In the case of one, a life will be transformed. In the other, resentment will be provoked. And this is the mark of a teacher. A teacher shows a student towards God by this kind of flavor. A teacher manifests the beauty of life, the greatness of life. That's the only way you can turn or point a student to God. That's the only way. If you talk about God to a student, you will drive him away. Now again, John Dewey makes a distinction between ideas about morality and moral ideas. Anyway, time doesn't allow me to go into it. So, this is one aspect of the paradigm of growth. The second is the shift from the surface to the depth. It's been agreed upon by scholars after scholars, social scientists after social scientists, that modern culture is a culture of the surface. Superficiality. That is why in this culture, visibility is such a great temptation. Everybody wants to be seen, and therefore nobody wants to see. Either you see or you want to be seen. You can't do both. Who wants to see? Everybody wants to be seen. It has got various manifestations, various expressions, various idioms. Now, why do you think this cheapness comes about? It's because we are only nurtured on the surface of life, and surface is all about visibility. It's not about depth. There is no profundity on the surface. The surface is all about titillation. The surface is all about pleasure. And there is no fulfillment, there is no fruitfulness, there is no peace, there is no rest on the surface. All these exist only in the depth of life. And education was meant to be a pilgrimage to the deep. And this is exactly what I meant when at the outset I said education must result in, at least certainly involve, the refinement of taste. What is the refinement of taste? There is no refinement of taste on the surface. In fact, on the surface, it will only get worse. On the surface of your skin, if you don't have daily bath, there will be no difference between your skin and the nalla. The surface will always degenerate. There is no permanency, there is no steadfastness, there is no renewal on the surface. It happens deep down. You look at a lake in nature, it's a beautiful thing. How does the lake maintain its identity and existence? It's because, unseen by you, at the bottom of the lake, there are water springs gushing forth all the time. It's only at the deep. That renewal cannot take place on the surface. And we who belong to the academic community have to be very clear about one thing. Unless and until we overcome the seductions of the surface and cultivate the discipline of going deeper and deeper and deeper into work, deeper into life, deeper into relationships, or in other words, unless we cultivate the discipline of seeking the fullness of everything, the fullness of everything, and that's called growth. Growth is the byproduct of seeking the fullness of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my dream for the college. One more final point and I'll stop. I'll pick an image from what Mr. Aide said, to some extent reflected also by the words of Mr. Matthew, that an institution should be like a river. Why do you think in this country we revere rivers? I revere rivers. I believe rivers are holy. But I go through the full implications of it. Rivers are symbols of continual renewal, number one. Rivers are also a very resonant symbol of outreach. Ganga does not stay frozen in Gangotri. It flows down, carrying the hope of fertility, of happiness for all people. Of course we kill the sacred river. That's another story. Now, St. Stephen's College for a very long time was more like the Dead Sea. Everything flowed into it. Nothing flowed out of it. Well, you can always say, yes, we send out wonderful students. Yes, but all other institutions do it. Let's be honest. What else have you done? You could have done a great deal more. I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm only saying that as long as this is your institutional vision, as long as this is your orientation, you will see nothing more and you will be complacent. And history, time will judge you. No pretension will remain. Everything will crumble. And the time has come. I hope we wake up before it is too late. As this river flows out, may it kindle a new life. It's because of this concern that we started this course, and some of the scholars are represented here. The course called Citizenship and Cultural Enrichment, where Seema gave a wonderful talk on media. It's a great experience for all of us. For the first time, there is a regular connect between St. Stephen's College and the world outside there. For the walls are crumbling, and that's called freedom. The crumbling walls are the convincing symbols of emerging freedom. This college must renounce complacency completely and must have the courage to flow out. Even if it means self-annihilation, we must do it because the times are so hazardous. And the night is already upon us. You can't wait anymore. And finally, my friends, in 1961, Martin Heidegger was giving a public talk, something like this. In the course of the interactions that ensued, one of the members of the audience got up and asked a question. The question was, "Sir, how may we better live the rest of our life?" I'm sure that's an important, relevant question. We are all interested in that question, right? What is the question? Sir, how may we better live the rest of our life? Does anyone know the answer that Heidegger gave? A very shocking answer, but a very profound answer. He said, visit the graveyards more often. Visit the graveyards more often, meaning don't take your life for granted. Time may be running out on you. Who knows? Who knows? What are you waiting for? There's a line in T.S. Eliot, "Hurry up please, it is time." The barmaid says, "Hurry up please, it is time." Let me conclude with the words of Jesus of Nazareth, where he says, "Do the works of light while there is still light. For the time is coming, for the night is coming, when no man or woman can do any work." Thank you very much.